This is the dual Borg from Malekko Heavy Industries. It's based on the Buckler 292 low pass gate and the Korg MS20 filter. It's a mix of the original Borg 1 and Borg 2 filters from Malekko. You can use it as a dual filter, which is independent or in series, or a stereo filter, and there's some clever normaling going on with these inputs and outputs, so you can make use of both filters should you wish. First, let's say this is a simple low pass filter. We're going into the first input and we're going out of the first output. I've got a mix of saws and squares from the Synthetech VCO next to it going into the filter. Here's a touch of resonance. And a bit more. And you can hear that MS20 character start to come in. A little more resonance. And this is nice and screamy with just over halfway on that resonance, but listen to the resonance beyond this kicking some serious saturation beyond that point. One thing to note is that we've only got one output plugged in and one input, and this input's actually normal to the second filter. We can get the output of both filters and actually set two different resonant peaks, one on each filter. The second output's also a mix of the two filters, but with a different tone and colour from those different circuits. To stop the second filter going into the output, all we need to do is plug a cable into the output and remove it from the signal path. There's a completely variable low pass to high pass. And this is a notch in the middle. Which is great for phaser style sounds. And all the way up, that's completely a high pass. And it'll go from nice and smooth, creamy filtering right up to bonkers territory. There's also a VCA mode, which is a low pass gate mode, so here's the normal filter mode. And then listen to that extra Vactral ring on the low pass gate mode. So strike this with a short trigger at the CV input. And we get that nice Vactral ring. Coming out of the second filter, we'll get a tighter Vactral response that's slightly softer to my ears. Taking the CV out, here's some filter sweeps on that second filter. There's the notch and the high pass. If we're going to input one again, we've got series or parallel processing. With series processing, one goes into the other, and these are both in low pass mode. Currently we're going to get nothing as the second filter isn't turned up. And the second filter will filter whatever output the first channel is giving us. So let's get some more saturated and screaming resonance on that first filter and then control it on the second right hand filter. Here's a pitch sequence into my oscillator. We can add that and get the filter key tracking as well. So this can start to get pretty filthy. instead of a dual low pass in series, we could have a high pass going into a low pass, so let's turn the first filter into a high pass. Here's a patch to show how you can use both sides completely independently. The first filter's got a short plug going into the owl module for some reverb. And the second sound is the Borg 2 side on the right, and that's going into a delay and an EQ module. Here's the filter mode on the bass sound, a bit thicker and a tighter response, and then a softer low pass gate sound on the other mode. So here's running both into my mixer at the same time. So let's look at using this as a stereo filter. I've got two oscillators and square waves coming out, one into each side of the filter. There's a nice detune and stereo whip from using those two oscillators slightly out of tune with each other. We can get both of these filters opening with the same gate sequence. I've got two identical envelopes, both triggering from the same gate sequence, and one is opening the right and the other the left hand side filter. And we can do some cool stereo panning tricks by not opening one side of the filter as much, so that it's actually weighing that sound further to one side. Make sure you listen in stereo and in high quality mode on YouTube, and listen in headphones or some decent speakers so you can hear this stereo sound. So with these different tones we're starting to create a stereo image. You could also offset the cutoff on one of the sides. Or set up some different resonances. And we can go into VCA mode for the low pass gates. And it's quite an obvious change in tone there when we go into that mode. I'll then go back into filter mode and play around with the right hand side's envelope. And then the envelope controlling the left hand, Borg 1. We can do this in low pass gate mode as well. So there's a really nice stereo sound with those different envelopes and the detune between the oscillators, and also the different tones from the Borg 1 and the Borg 2 filter circuits. Instead of a steady 16th note clock triggering each envelope, I'm going to use a random gate, one for the left side and one for the right. Here's playing with the envelopes again and adjusting the filters. So we'll finish by using the dual Borg as a full voice within itself. No input's going to be used, and I'm going to take the output direct from the dual Borg. This is in series, but let's listen to output 1. I have it in filter mode and it's self-oscillating with full resonance. On the second channel, I'm going to control the tone and the level of that first filter. Here's the VCA mode. So the first channel is oscillating and creating a tone, and that's then going into the second channel. Let's add a random gate to strike the low pass gate on that second filter. And this responds really well to FM, so let's take a sine wave from the oscillator next to it and take that into the CV, controlling the oscillating first filter. So some great FM tones in there. Let's sweep the pitch of the oscillator. We can get this track in pitch by using the key tracking, so let's use a pitch sequence. And then add the FM back in. This FM's static, so let's split the sequence into the oscillator as well. And then the FM tones tracking pitch alongside the oscillating filter. So that's a full self-contained voice for sound generation and tone and amplitude control, all from the dual Borg. The dual Borg filter goes from a more creamy and smooth filtering sound to all out MS-20 style madness with the resonance. Having two different tones on the two different filters and all the options for series or parallel filtering works great. Plus the low pass gate modes give a nice thick woody plucked sound as well. As always, hit like and subscribe for more videos every week, and check the Patreon link in the description to see how you can support my channel.